Greetings and welcome to the Wild Swans at Coole. Before starting today's video, I want to clear something that in my previous video on Renaissance philosophy and humanism with scholasticism and aphorism, I have pronounced the word scholasticism as occultism, which is wrong. So if you have not watched the video or if you have already watched the video, please make sure that the correct pronunciation is scholasticism, not occultism. Now let's begin this video. Today's video on Sigmund Freud's the famous essay The Uncanny or Unheimlich. So without any delay, let's begin. Sigmund Freud in his essay The Uncanny has talked about the return of the repressed guilt in the form of ghost. Uncanny means beyond the can or beyond knowledge. Something which is placed between extreme terror and mild anxiety develops uncanny. So, uncanny, what we mean by uncanny? Uncanny is something which is unknown to us, and because of this unknowingness, because we don't know what it is, it arises a fear of extreme fear, and because of this fear or terror, it gives us anxiety. Freud defines the uncanny as an unfamiliar, terrifying feeling that is familiar at the same time to an individual. He further defines the uncanny as something familiar that has been repressed and eventually comes to light. He uses the German words heimlich as familiar and unheimlich as unfamiliar to explain the uncanny. What it means? It means that sometimes something horrifies us or some similar kinds of experience, it gives us anxiety. And for example, if we go to a new place, or take it like you are going to get admission in new college, and you don't know what kind of people they are or what kind of environment that is. So it, remembering that, sometimes we feel nervous. And then another person who is also going to take admission to a new college, once upon a time that person, let's imagine, has faced some bullying. So when he is going to a new college, it sometimes that bullying or can cause him, or he feels like maybe I can get bullied there. So similar thing, or maybe he has forgotten about the bully, but that thing has remained in him unconsciously, subconsciously in his mind. So it can give him anxiety. So this is what Freud is trying to tell us. Now in the second para, Freud illustrates his definition of the uncanny by summarizing The Sandman, a story about a young boy who is haunted throughout his life by the childhood story of the Sandman, a character unknown to the reader as real or imagined, who removes children's eyes. So Freud's The Uncanny essay is divided in three parts, and in one of the parts, Freud tells that a story. The name of the story is The Sandman. There, what happens? A young boy is haunted by a unknown character whose name is Sandman, and what he removes children's eyes. So the boy in the story, the Sandman, is who reads the story of Sandman gets terrified. So this, because of a character, unknown character. So this unknown character who can remove a children's eyes, and the young boy who is also a children gets terrified because of that. Freud relates this story and the main character's fear of having his eyes cut out. So you can see that how he is relating the story with himself. Back to his theory. Freud also believes that a particularly favorable condition for awakening uncanny sensation is created when there is intellectual uncertainty whether an object is alive or not. Freud believes the wooden doll in The Sandman illustrates this point. So in the story there, if you read the essay on uncanny, by Freud, you will see that there is the mentioning of the wooden doll. So what the wooden doll is also unknown. So, and it is not alive, and the main character of the story falls in love with the wooden doll. So it gives an anxiety to the young boy that that wooden doll whom he is loving is not real. It is an object which is not alive. Now, the third part. Freud then turns his focus to feelings of uncanny in literary works. He states that there is a differentiation between the uncanny that is actually experienced and the uncanny as we merely picture it or read about it. According to Freud, the most uncanny and widespread forms of superstition is the dread of the evil eye. So the quote that says the uncanny that is actually experienced, as I have given you the example that someone who has already feels bullied in school, or has some or have something have something that has traumatized him in his childhood or any kind of time, and if similar kind of situation happens, the first thing he or she remembers is that bad experience. It may not be true for all, but most of the cases this happens. And and sometimes the uncanny as we merely picture it or read about it, for example, if you have read some horror story or some murder story on, and you have seen in Crime Patrol or CID this very dangerous stories on how someone is murdered or kidnapped, and sometimes where it also gives us fear, right? That what if this thing happened to me? So this is what Freud is trying to say. Now the last line of this para, which says the dread of the evil eye is the most widespread forms of superstition and uncanny, because you know uh, like for evil I mean someone is watching us, or uh, someone is making someone is being jealous of our success. So Freud calls it omnipotent thought, omnipotence of our thought, that how our thoughts mm, can mm, uh, can makes us move, or how our thoughts can overpower us. So this is the thing of evil eye. So there may be that there is nothing about evil eye, or we are only thinking about that someone is jealous of us and then he may not like it, and it can cause damage to us. So this is also one kind of uncanny. Now let's move to the fourth para. We can also define uncanny as return of the colonizer's repressed guilt, racial guilt, which is the cause of anxiety that is reflected in stories like Satyajit Ray's Neel Atanko. According to Freud, whatever one is repressing in their subconscious will be back to one in any form, and one of it is dream. Dream becoming subconscious reality is a metaphor of the subconscious which takes the form of dream as a reality. So, uh, so with Freud's uncanny theory, we can define many, uh, many stories of famous writers. There is a, if you are aware, there is also just like literature on drama, literature on city. There is also a topic which is famous, which is literature of the uncanny. There, uh, with that we can, with this theory we can analyze such texts, and such one of the such texts are Satyajit Ray's Neel Atanko, or the Indigo Terror, where the protagonist of the story, who is Aniruddha, he goes he goes to a place, and then his car punctured, and then he takes shelter in a villa which was once upon a time 100 years ago a Nil Sahib villa, or a British's villa, and there, the story says that the Aniruddha is possessed by the mm, ghost or spirit, or it is not clear what is it, but Aniruddha feels that he, as if he is that British Sahib, and that British Sahib expresses his guilt of torturing India. So it So here it is. Here Ray has used the to metaphor of dream to threat the colonizer's gaze. B.M. Crocker has also uses the uncanny in a story The Little Brass God, where the Malik of the villa which he handovers to another girl gets jealous of that girl who is becoming the new Malik. And because in that girl the old Malik sees her own reflection, and now because she is old she cannot overcome, or she cannot become like the new girl. So in jealousy that old Malik gives the new Malik a brass god, as if it is meant for bad thing which will happen to the new Malik. B.M. Crocker uses uncanny as a target, a sort of distraction in her story The Little Brass God, to vent out the repressed desires. In India, the Britishers get the freedom to experiment with uncanny because Victorian morality prevents them to express their desire. So the cause of uncanny can also gets or freedom in India, because Victorian morality has created a space that these things you cannot express, these things you can express. So and it is, you will understand that our thoughts are not limited, or we cannot structure our thoughts, but because of Victorian morality, Britishers at that time cannot implement their thoughts, but they get the freedom to implement their thoughts in India. And this is what Freud is trying to say. While Freud provides several examples that bring about uncanny feelings, he also makes it clear that not everything that is connected with repressed desires is uncanny, or not everything that is connected with archaic forms of thought belonging to the past of the individual and of the race is uncanny. So, so if something is repressed desire, that it doesn't mean it will always gives us a fear or anxiety, or what, or this extreme terror or mild anxiety can not always develop because of uncanny, uh, right? Because maybe sometimes people overcome that feelings. So that is it for today's video, guys. If you have liked this video, please like, subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you.